Okay.
Looks pretty good. So you're against a Vlad. Okay.
Yeah, that's not a good matchup for me, but he kind of got washed. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
or got sat
nice.
down.
Okay. Cool. So before we start, do you mind hitting pause?
Yeah.
Let's look at all the details. So why don't you tell me, like, for starters, how long have you been playing League?
I don't like this question, man, because
You
I
don't
say
like it?
season one and people are like, "What are you been playing since season one?" It's like,
No,
okay,
no
dude.
judgment
Well,
whatsoever. I guess my goal of the question is to understand, like, what your goals are, where you're coming from, how much prior knowledge you have. What do you think your strengths are,
um,
that kind of thing. Because I'm only here to help you. I'm not here to judge
yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah.
So I've been playing since season one. I was 5 years old when I started playing,
Wow,
and
nice, cool.
I don't play it that much. All right, come on. Okay, I'm not like addicted. All right, I don't play League. It's not my main game. I've been getting into it again because my friends have been wanting me to do Clash and shit. And it's like, well, if I'm gonna do fucking Clash, I might as well get good at the game, right? I mean, like
Yeah,
shit.
nice.
So like I don't know, and whenever I play games, I always play to improve. League's my worst game. Like I am, dude. I have never been like every game I touch, I'm actually usually pretty high level at. This game, I can't fucking play it, man. I
Yeah,
don't know what it is, man. Like every fucking game, I'm top 10% of the player base minimum. Every fucking
nice.
one. It's so
Yeah,
disgusting.
yeah. League
I don't
is
know why I
like
can't play this.
League is like an endless depth of nuance, right? There's so much detail in this game. It's
Yeah,
pretty
like,
hard
dude,
to
like this,
pick
the
at.
idea of how I can wind wall Pike E, but not Mordekaiser E, or how Vladimir can pull Vigar cage,
Hmm.
but he can't pull under fucking Yorick W, and just like things like that, like just like this fucking just like, oh, we have no consistency. It's like okay, or
Yeah.
like how certain
So.
champions like their abilities will go through even though they've been stunned, but other champions have a very similar ability that isn't like a channel or anything. They'll get stunned and it
Mhm.
won't go through. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah. So, like, there's so many elements to that, right? One is knowing what your champion does in and out, and the second one
Yeah,
is also knowing, like, the exact terminology that Riot uses when they're describing an ability, right? It's so
yeah,
hard. There's so much depth. But anyways, I totally understand that, and it's like a long learning curve for sure. But do you mostly play Yasuo, or do you play other?
definitely mainly Yasuo.
Okay,
I have
cool.
300k on Yasuo. My
Okay.
second most played is Vladimir with like 70k or something,
Okay,
or
so you're
50k or
pretty
something.
familiar with, like, the Yasuo Vlad matchup then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been playing a lot of Vlad recently. I really like him. He's so broken. You have to put no effort in. So dumb, dude. The
Yeah.
champion's fucking like Yorick, man. It's brain damage. Like if you go even in lane, you still win. Even
Yeah,
if you lose a
so
little bit, you still win.
for sure. So going into this game, what are some, like, I mean, things start in, like, champ select, right? So why don't we
Yeah.
check out, like, what runes and what items you decide to buy? Why don't you walk me through that? If you just hover,
So
if
I
you can
take
hover
pretty much
the
the same rooms.
there's a little triangle on the left over your character, on the bottom left, bottom left.
Oh, okay.
Do
Oh,
you
bottom
see
left.
next to Yasuo
Triangle.
icon?
This.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one right there. Okay, perfect. So, Triumph, Alacrity, Last Stand, Revitalize, and Second Win. Cool. You want to talk me through your rune choice a little bit?
I pretty much go these runes every time, to be
Okay.
honest. No matter what I play into, unless it's
Mm-hmm.
like some disgusting shit where it's like I literally cannot play this game if I pick these runes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I go like lethal tempo because it's just broken. Like you get so much attack speed so early, like it makes it to where you're just an early game demon even more so than you are
Mm-hmm.
already. Triumph. The amount of times I've gotten away like because I go like I'm like really aggro. I go in. I'm in your turret and like I'll kill a person and I'll like just barely live because the triumph proc
Mm-hmm.
and the fucking turret shot hits me and I'm just alive. But like fucking like a sliver of HP.
Mm-hmm.
Alacrity, you have to take Alacrity on you, so you're a fucking goober if you don't. Um, Last stand. I don't know. I'm a bit like off put on this one. Like I see people go last stand. It's like yeah, it could make
Mm-hmm.
sense because a lot of the time you're not really max HP. Most of the time you're getting bullied pretty hard. People are like targeting you a lot because you're
Mm-hmm.
usually like the carry most of the time. So like you're usually a scary one.
Yeah.
So like last stand's cool and all, and like most of the time I'm fighting pretty low HP because oftentimes I'm getting ganked a lot and I'm taking 2v1s.
Yeah. Since
Revitalize is just really nice because of the shield power and heal. I go Bloodthirster a lot instead of IE. I
hmm
know like a lot of people don't think that's a good idea, but like I don't know, like the heal like makes me win so many fights that I wouldn't.
sure,
Um,
yeah.
and second win is just really nice for this Vlad matchup and just in general because
hmm
Because Yasuo's a fucking melee champion, he's gonna get bullied a lot in lane. So having that
Yeah.
extra HP regen is nice.
Yeah, so that's fair. I totally understand that. What's your first item in this game? Just curious what you start.
Doran Blade. I was
Doran's
thinking
Blade.
Doran
Okay.
Shield, but
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, so if you want to pause again really quick. So I encourage you to tweak these runes kind of like to optimize for one direction, meaning like,
Yeah,
hey, you know you're in a Vlad matchup, you can take really aggressive runes, go Doran's Blade, and try to go for the kill, right? Because Yasuo's strength and kind of playability is all about the all in, right? He kind of is an all
yeah,
in champion. You need to be close range to do that damage. So I like the lethal tempo early game rune for sure. I like the alacrity early game, and last stand also totally makes sense as you go into the later game. There's nothing better than triumph in that tree, so you kind of have to go triumph. The thing that
yeah,
I would probably tweak and play with is that secondary. So second wind and revitalize is great if you're going into like some of those mage matchups where you do get bullied in kind of the early game, but as you said with Vlad, Vlad's super weak early, right? So you
yeah.
can
He's
bully the crap out
terrible.
of him early
Yeah,
instead, right? So I would tweak that and see if there's like more aggressive runes that you could take. For example, I almost would go like a sudden impact and like a
Chase the
treasure
Blood.
hunter, for example,
Ooh, treasure. Okay, I haven't
because
tried Treasure Hunter
that's
yet.
yeah, that's a strong snowball. Like I'm gonna lethal tempo you down. You're gonna maximize that early game damage, especially in a lane that Yasuo can abuse, for example, right? Versus if you're going the revitalize second heal route, I almost would anticipate that into like an Anivia lane or a Lux lane
Yeah,
or a Victor lane
Zareth.
with Xerath, where you probably want to go Doran Shield and really optimize for that healing when you back out of those trades. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing I'd probably suggest for you. Not saying it's bad. I agree. I like this kind of setup, and you're on the right thought process. So yeah, let's press play and see how the first few minutes play out. Let's go at normal speed. I like to really dissect the early game because the early game is so important, right? It starts from minute one. Like the game's already started, so
Yeah.
I'd like to hear more about like what you're thinking, how you plan to play the early levels. Talk me through some of that.
Okay, so me as a player, I don't trust teammates in any game I play. I play for solo. I play alone. And Overwatch is like a game I play a fuck ton. That's
hmm
like my secondary main game. Like I literally play Reaper, and I do not play with anyone else. Like other than my DPS. Like if he's like on like a dive, we just fucking like monkey on people. But like I do not plan for my healers to help me
hmm
ever. And I'm definitely not planning on helping these motherfuckers with this invade in the slightest. There's no chance if that happens. Like I never go for invades. I never really help with them because like if I die, then like that's my shit fucked up, and I'm not gonna deal with it. Like if it's like a pretty free invade, like game one where like I was really thinking about going in, like the first game, like you weren't there, but like it was a really big monkey fest down like here. There was like fucking four people here, and there's a bunch of low HP people. I was gonna go down there. But then I just saw like they were just kind of backing off, and I was like, I know that if I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna fucking get there too late. And I got to use like flash, ignite, and like fucking like get to get a kill, and maybe die or lose a bunch of HP before it's just not worth it.
hmm
So like I just prefer to just fucking just play as they can just wait. I see like they're up here and just like kind of goofing and shit. And of course I talk shit and all chat and say your skin's trash, Vlad, but you're not
Yeah,
exactly
so
wrong.
actually, I might even encourage a little bit of the opposite. Not because I understand that, like in low elo, it's kind of a crapshoot when people invade. But if you want to pause for a second, I'm going to posit
Yeah.
something here. So, do you know much about your jungle matchup? Like, you have a Zac, they have a Shaco. What do you know about Shaco? Just curious.
I know that I need to be ready
hmm
to dash out through his box and him immediately whenever he's in my lane because there's not a whole lot of counterplay except for like maybe a pink ward and like penny bush wards and just like really
hmm
paying attention. But
So,
like he can get around that pretty easily by just like going like through here and teleporting over the wall or something. Like
yeah, so you kind of know how he plays the map. That's good. So back to that level 1 thought process, did you know that if you guys actually invade and pop Shaco's box, he's actually completely screwed in the early game? Like he can't even gank you
Mm.
at that point. So what I'm trying to suggest is actually there's something that you could do as a mid laner that
Mm.
actually speeds up your team's process. And let me kind of go through that. So for example, right, Shaco is super box dependent in the level 1. This is actually a pretty suboptimal start for Shaco. What he's doing right now, it's
Yeah, he
pretty
didn't place multiple boxes.
yeah. So what I would actually almost suggest is one, evaluate your level 1, right? So I agree. A lot of the times it's a crapshoot. It's like understanding: do you guys have? Can you get your jungle some momentum? If you put Shaco behind, for example, by popping some of those boxes,
Mm.
he's behind Zach. He probably can't gank you at all. And you don't even have to worry about that outplay situation, and you can bully Vlad even harder. So there's two
Yeah,
things I would suggest. One is the potential for a level 1. You don't have to go all in, you don't have to blow flashes. Just conservatively go and take a peek, right? Because if you go and
yeah,
take a peek early, you can also recall, come back. You don't have to worry about your HP, none of that. That's fine. And you get jungle knowledge, right? So you know Shaco started bot side, which likely means he's either going to do two things. He's one, gonna gank you on his way top, or he's going to clear and go top because that's the path
mm,
he's pathing in. So it gets you
yeah.
all that knowledge. Okay, the other thing I want to suggest is if you move your mouse a little bit up, actually, yeah, right there. So
Warding
another thing
Raptor.
you can do is if you don't want to invade, exactly, ward this ramp. So not like too deep, but if you go a little to the right where it meets the river,
Yeah, right
like
here.
around here, yeah, exactly. Because the other thing that tells you is one, is Shaco going to do a level 2 gank? He has to queue over
Yeah,
the wall, right? Is he going to go to Raptors? You'll have all of the information and you know exactly how you want to play the lane. Does that make
yeah. Like,
sense?
I ward
Yeah.
Raptors like sometimes, but like I don't know. Like I don't always do it.
Yeah. It's kind of like you can ward it if you're playing a pushing champion, which Yasuo is. But at that point you've already
Mm.
pushed, right? Like you're in a risky spot. So
Yeah,
if you went toward that Raptors and the jungler was there and you're pushed, then you're vulnerable. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So I would prep that even before the game starts because I mean, what's going to happen
yeah. Like,
level
usually
1?
like a
Yeah.
minute or a minute and 10 is when you're supposed to do it or something like that. But
Yeah,
I
a
don't know.
little early for sure. And at level 1, like if you see people there, you also have more knowledge. You probably think, "Ooh, it seems like they're guarding the jungler. He's probably starting bot side, right?"
Mm.
Yeah. So the reason I emphasize that is because you're playing Yasuo actually. And your weakness is actually jungle ganks, right? That's the champion's
Yeah,
like weakness. Like you have the reason you're good mid is because you can wave manipulate for free, but you're weak to jungle ganks. So
yeah.
that's kind of why I was emphasizing that level 1. But anyways, that's good to know. Let's go ahead and press play. If you don't mind, would you mind playing it at half speed? Because there's a lot of good like nuances to kind of look through, and it helps me see what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So, are you letting him push because you're afraid of Shaco gank?
I'm letting him push because I want to be able to have the advantage to where I can dash through minions and have a safer lane from ganks to where like I don't even have to worry about anything because
Got it.
if he's pushed up, I get free CS because I'm an easier champion to CS on than Vladimir, of course. He's like the
Mm-hmm.
fucking most annoying champ to CS on in the fucking universe, man. Champ's
Got it.
AIDS. So
Got
it's
it.
like if I can like get like a decent like fucking like wave position to where I can have full advantage and
Mm-hmm.
dash on him, then it's like really big for me. Like I have free
Yeah, that's
advantage.
fair. That's fair. Yeah. Let's press play. Yeah.
And also, I was told by another person that I really
Mm-hmm.
need to stop pushing wave early because I would actually queue the first three minions. Like I would like triple queue, and then I would like triple queue again to kill them. I would like hard push.
Yeah. Why did they
Yeah.
say not to do that? I'm curious. Did they say why?
They say that just fucks my lane up, and that like it makes me like really like vulnerable to just like getting capitalized on because I'm so far
Mm-hmm.
pushed up. Like I can get ganked on. They can like get a free
Got it.
freeze to where like a pain in the ass for me to CS and shit.
Got it. So they told you kind of the simple version. I
Yeah.
can give you the more complex version if you're interested.
Yeah.
so actually, when you watch like high elo streamers, for example, a lot of the times they actually do abuse that two wave push. I kind of lost your leak screen. I don't know if you stopped streaming.
Yeah, I
Oh,
alt tabbed.
oh, no worries, no worries. Okay, so are you familiar with like the wave behavior, like what happens every three waves, and what time you get level two and all that?
Level 2, you get off the first minion of the second wave,
Right, the first melee minion.
and
So
yeah,
seven
melee,
minions. Right. So
and wave 3 is cannon wave every time.
yeah, yep. So what happens on a pushed wave? So okay. So right now, the you have to make a decision. Do I want to play more early game skewed, or do I want to let Vlad push and look for an opening to potentially kill him? And you chose the second one, which is totally fine. The first option that I'm talking about is when you hard shove the first two waves. And so what happens then is that you actually get the level two first. If you want to fight over level two, and I think you should in this instance actually, because Yasuo level two is insane, right? Yasuo level two is way better
Okay,
than
that's
Vlad and
interesting. Because like
Shingo.
I know effectively nothing about like what I'm supposed to do like with waves and like wave management. I just know
Mm-hmm.
how minion like their AIs behave because I've played so much. Like I know how they move and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Like okay, the reason I'm bad at this game is because like strategy and like pre-planning has
Mm-hmm.
always been my weakness in
Right.
every game I play. Like that's always
Yeah.
been like my biggest problem, like of like fucking like making a plan and shit and
Yeah.
like strategizing what I'm supposed to do like in the
Mm-hmm.
future.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a super hardcore like reactionary player.
Got
Like
it.
for every game I play, like I'm like really like all right, reactionary, use mechanics to win. That's it.
Yeah, so that's kind of the micro versus macro element, right? Like you know Yasuo, and that's good. What I'm trying to do, and maybe let me know if this is helpful, is outlining your options, right? And that helps you
Yeah,
decide, like, right, this game is specific for Vlad, but can I then go and try this out in the next game against another mage? Can I try this
yeah.
same thing out against another matchup? That's kind of what I'm trying to help with. I don't know if that's helpful because you told me. I mean, you just told me I'm weak at decision making and strategizing. So um, I don't want to say that what your previous coach said is wrong. What I'm saying is it's an option.
My previous coach was gold, so I don't know. I took everything he said with a grain of salt. So,
Okay, okay, got it.
and I also beat him in a 1v1. So I mean,
Well, interesting coach then. So the reason I'm saying this is an option is it's not bad to actually push the wave. It's not great either, but it's just a different type of play style, right? You opted in for the lethal tempo. You opted in for the Doran's blade. You should utilize
yeah.
that, right? You're trying to play aggro.
That's weird because like
Hmm.
the entire time, like I would legitimately 100% of the time, every single game, no matter what, I would hard shove waves as
Hmm.
hard as possible and just shove my laner under tower and just bully the shit out of them, and it would work. But then I was told that was a terrible idea and all I was doing was wrong, so I stopped
So there's
doing
a
it.
pattern, and that's what I was going to explain. So you don't
Yeah,
want to
certain,
hard
and I'm assuming
shove.
certain champions you don't want to do that into.
Yeah, you don't want to do it into certain champions, but you also don't want to do it for every wave, which is what I was about to say. So you want
Yeah,
to hard shove the first two waves. The third one, you actually don't want to touch at all. Do you know why?
because it's hard to push out a cannon wave so you can get it back.
Yes, but what it actually happens is the third wave bounces back. So that's when you
Mm,
create your opening. So let me explain. So for example, you've hit the first two waves. Vlad's under tower. He's trying to CS. Now his tower is hitting your third wave, but you're not hitting his
yeah,
third wave. So it's actually
so
going
they're
to
gonna
push
die really
back into
fast.
you. And so
Yeah.
what that
Okay.
means is Vlad will hit level 3 first, but that doesn't matter. You are so much stronger as a champion. Once you kill two minions in that third wave, you can just put another point in queue and smash this guy to death. He then has no choice because his wave is pushing into you. You
Mm,
can out trade him. You have that's your opening. That third wave, that entire third wave, you can do whatever the hell you want. And if you put a ward at Shaco's rates, you know exactly where the jungler is at that time. So it's
Hey,
calculated
Race, that's my
aggression.
guy.
Sorry?
I said Race, that's my guy.
Yeah.
I remember when they
So
were
so that
Race.
calculated aggression is what I'm talking about because you're playing an early game champ. Did that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm giving you that like alternative because it's also really it's really bad to let Vlad just kind of free farm. You know what I mean? Like Vlad
Yeah,
scales like a mother, right? It's like you and Vlad
yeah.
both scale. That's
I
fine. So
don't
you don't have to
know a
worry
champion
about
that
that.
scales harder than Vladimir. Like, I don't even think Cassidy scales as hard as Vlad.
Yeah,
Like, literally.
yeah. Vlad scales and he kind of scales from existing, right? Other champions need
Yeah,
gold. Vlad is an experience. So there's two types of scaling in League. There's gold scaling and there's experience scaling. And so the experience scaling champions are skewed towards lower elo, right? So lower elo will play champions like Vlad, for instance, because all
yeah,
you have to do is exist, hit level 9, hit level 11, and you break the game. Whereas
yeah. Like
champions
Yorick
like
and shit like that.
Yasuo, who are high execution, or champions like Lee Sin, or champions like Zed, who are high
Oh,
execution, gold
dude.
dependent, those are the champions that you'll see skewed towards higher elo, which is how Riot does their balancing. You know what
Bro,
I'm saying?
season 6 was the day. I was a Lee Sin main in season 6. I was ridiculous. I was pulling insects. Like, I was going crazy. Dude,
Nice.
I fucking played so much Lee Sin, man.
Yeah. So you've got the mechanics, and I can hear that when you say those things. So I'd like to see like thinking about the wave manipulation piece would probably unlock a lot for you, and I can see that
Yeah.
already. So yeah, so let's press play and see how things go from here. You can do it at normal speed. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
No, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight that alternative play style because right now you're kind of just letting Vlad do what he wants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was terrible as an idea.
I don't think it was a terrible idea. I think the execution was a little clunky, and that's okay. That takes a lot of practice. Yeah, you're kind of in a rough spot now, huh?
Yeah, this is how like early games feel. Like I either like feel fantastic or like just complete and utter dog shit.
Hmm. Little trade there. That's good. Okay. Nice. There you go. Nice. Yeah, but okay, if you want to pause for a second right there, that was actually pretty damn good. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Vlad can. You shouldn't let Vlad do what he wants because look
Yeah,
how much stronger you are.
yeah,
That was good though, and so now as you're seeing, for example, the third wave is bouncing. Right, this is the cannon wave
yeah,
that's pushing towards his side. So as a mid lane, the other thing that's super important is once you get a kill, you have to make the decision based on where your lane is. Am I gonna hard shove this in time, or do I recall? Because there's two things that always happen mid, right? The jungler is constantly crossing mid, constantly.
yeah,
So you have to assume they're coming to scavenge your ass for right now, literally. So
yeah.
it's hard to make this choice of is it better for me to push this lane in, or is it better for me to just recall?
That's interesting because like
Hmm.
I never think about like how the jungler is gonna come scavenge me like after a kill like this because that happens a lot. But I never really thought
Hmm.
about it. Like because like oftentimes like the junglers are so bad in my elo that like they just don't come. So it's like a fucking like it's like a 50-50 whether or not they even deal with them. So it's like I honestly just don't even think about it. It's like I'm just gonna hard shove, make him lose CS because Vladimir needs CS, and then it's gonna be
Yeah.
reset.
Yeah, so especially Shaco and Zach. So one thing they did this season, and I'll keep it short. They kind of incentivized junglers to do more ganking. Um,
Yeah,
and those junglers who are like Shaco, Lee Sin, Pantheon, they don't farm very well, right? So they are almost always looking for opportunities to kill you and other laners, and you blew your flash there, right? So in an
yeah,
actual game, if the jungler had that information, They're coming for you, and you have to be constantly thinking about that. So in this situation, you have two options, right? You have to decide right now: can I push this lane out fast enough to beat Vlad back, or is it better to just recall and have more? Or sorry, is it better to recall and have more tempo? What do you
That's
think?
another thing
Hmm.
that like I am confused about is like
Sure.
right now I feel like if I back right now I'm gonna lose a fuck ton of CS.
Hmm. Why do
That's
you
like
think
it's like
that? I'm curious.
because like there's two extra mage minions here,
Sure.
so like the wave's gonna push into me, and
Hmm.
I'm gonna lose so much. And these minions are already low. Like I really don't like losing CS if possible because I got into my
Yeah.
head that like CS is like infinitely important, like
Yeah, you're not
everywhere.
wrong. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is like for each time that you do get a kill or die or have this scenario, there's a decision that you have to make, right? So yes, CS is important. However, dying to a jungle gank is way worse, right? So you
Yeah.
have two decisions. You have three if you think about it, right? One is push, risk the gank. Two is leave and lose a little bit. Three is the worst, right? Semi push, die to jungle, and then lose a lot.
Mm.
So you have to make the best choice that you can.
Yeah.
Actually, I agree with you. You should push this out. You should push this out as much as you can. That doesn't mean you have to stay till every single minion is dead. As long as
Yeah.
your wave is hard shoving into Vlad, you can recall. You can give up a couple minions. That's okay.
That's like the thing
Yeah.
I'm struggling with because I just
Mm-hmm.
recently like figured out because I've been watching a lot of like I've been watching the number one Vlad player like
Mm-hmm.
a fuck ton, and like you just like all right, bro. If you don't CS, you're throwing. Like if you don't have 10 CS per minute on Vladimir, you're a terrible player. Like this dude goes into he went into Korea and got challenger with 12 CS a minute every fucking game and just dominated
Right.
everything. And you just destroyed the whole fucking region. I was like, okay, dude. All right, fine. And like, but he did say this one thing. He was like, you have to like decide when
Mm-hmm.
it's worth it for you to lose CS for a roam or for backing. Like, how much CS is this worth to you? If that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like, when are you like able to leave? Like, are you like able to like lose this CS right now? And like, I feel like I haven't like got that in my head yet because like right here,
Yeah.
I just got 400 gold from the fucking first blood. I should just back
Yeah.
or like get a couple minions and leave
Yeah. I agree
because
with
like I
that
have
call.
money advantage right
Yeah.
now.
I would kill off like the melees and recall, for example, because Shaco is
Okay.
scary as hell. Most Shakos
Yeah.
actually take Ignite Smite, so I'm surprised this guy has Flash. That's kind of troll.
This
But
Shaco was a fucking garbage can. This dude was dog shit. This guy was a caterpillar. I am not kidding. He was not human, dude. There's no way.
yeah. So knowing that in this game is an exception, but thinking about it more objectively, right? Like a good
Yeah.
Shaco player would have killed you here,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
this Shaco should be like walking up, like either like up through here and then fucking queuing in, or like around this way and like queuing around, like one of the two. Like I should probably die here
He could have
because
done a
like even
lot
if
of
I have
things.
pat,
Yeah.
like if he has ignite, right? Like because he doesn't have ignite, I think I kill him because he doesn't have ignite. If even if he does gank me here, because I have passive shield and I
Hmm.
can pretty much rely on myself. I'm gonna win all that E for sure.
Yeah,
Like
that's knowing your champion, and that's great. Like you have that confidence because you've played Yasuo and you know your champion. So that was that. I mean, there's so many pieces to this, right? It's like knowing your champion, knowing what the other one does, and then knowing the wave state. So
yeah,
if you want to hover Shaker really quickly, I want to see what he's doing right now. It's curious. If you just go down, just move your mouse down a little bit. Oh,
I can't fucking find
he's
it on my
actually
mouse.
going top. Okay, so you do have time actually. So I want to go back. Well, let's just move your mouse back to the lane. Yeah.
Yeah,
One thing I encourage if you're trying to decide what to do with a lane, like just count the minions. That's an easy way to figure out like, is this pushing hard enough? Is this kind of more towards me? What's the next
mm,
step, right? Always ask yourself those questions. Like what happens in the next minute? Does that make
mm,
sense?
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So let's press play. Let's see how it goes. I see. So you don't completely commit to the hard shove.
I missed that key. That was so fucking bad. He was
No
so dead. I fucked
worries.
that up so terribly.
No worries. The important thing I would say is that you didn't commit to the hard shove, which is why you're kind of in this awkward situation of like, oh yeah, I had to fight off a 2v1. Ooh, there's actually a lot of pressure coming from the Vlad now. So what I was trying to say is like, in that previous scenario, make sure you're auto attacking, auto attacking, auto attacking, queuing the wave. And then you can back
Yeah.
here. I would actually really recommend backing here because it's a cannon wave. It's gonna bounce back to you. So keeping in mind that cannon waves will always bounce back if you don't put it in like this scenario. My
Yeah.
God, the Shaco comes back. Okay. Yeah, these are definitely. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's a thrower, dude. I told you he's a caterpillar, man. I'm not kidding, dude.
Okay. Well, that's a
This guy
lot of
is a
gold.
mollusk. This guy is a fucking mollusk.
Yeah, this reminds me of Low Elo where they're just chasing you for kills. So, anyways, now as we get back. Okay, cool.
Bro is
Your
a
jet,
lymph node on Jehovah.
and you know what's great is it's not only your lead that you built up, but look at Zach's
Yeah,
lead now. You
jungle
bought so
too.
much time for your jungle to go steal some camps. Now your jungle is like at least 300 gold ahead, right? So if you go to the score,
Oh,
if you press X, it might even be more at this point. Oh, oops. How ahead is
this
he?
is
Say
so good,
800
man.
gold ahead, right?
Oh
And
my
you're
god.
double Vlad's gold. So it's not just that you won, but you actually enabled your jungler to have full control of the map. So you got your team a lot. Cool.
This
Okay.
buy right here is my favorite thing in the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Zerkers into agility cloak first back is de fucking disgusting. This game ended already, dude. This shit's done.
Yeah. Nice.
Get back in there. Meow. Now I know I have like a severe advantage on him, so I'm just gonna beat his ass.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's pretty over, huh? You're snowballing like crazy. Um, One thing I want to emphasize when you are snowballing like crazy is you want to protect that snowball. That probably doesn't mean too much to you right now, but what I'm trying to say, nice, that was clean. Um, Pink wards. So one of the things that's most important about mid lane is actually vision control over certain areas of the map, and I'll explain that in a moment. So if you want to pause for a second, scroll to the right a little bit. So one of the things mid lane is set up to do is impact both sides of the map, right? You can impact
Yeah.
top and you can impact bot. But you need to be able to set that up, right? So roaming is a question I get asked a lot, right? Like when should I roam? Why should I roam? When should I
Yeah,
think
my
about
roams are
roaming?
terrible.
Yeah,
Wait, now
so
that I'm looking here,
mhm,
wait, I should have roamed instead of chasing this fucking Jacko.
there
Like, these
you
guys are
go,
very
right?
killable right now.
And what I was about to say is exactly that. So you killed Vlad, right? Awesome.
Yeah.
Early tower plates are actually super freaking hard to take, right? I think they
Yeah.
get massive shielding. Usually, the only time I push for tower plates is if I have a cannon wave coming. So I don't
Hmm.
think this wave is a cannon wave. Can you hover your minions? I don't think it's a cannon wave. Right.
No.
This is a perfect time to roam. Excellent time
Hmm.
to roam. And the way you can set yourself up for doing that is having a pink in your inventory. So if you had a pink right now, right? Let's go to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
So the way I suggest using pinks is actually not there. If you go up the river a little bit, you see this bush right here. So
The tiny
there's a
bush.
way to pink ward this bush, and what you want to do
Hmm.
is you want to place it towards the bottom of the bush. What that does,
Like
yeah,
you.
like towards the bottom, exactly. So what that does is one, it lets you see the enemy jungle exit, right? You see that ramp.
Hmm.
The other thing you
Yeah.
see is dragon, right? The third thing you see is potential jungle invades. So you see that entire thing with one pink. So
Hmm.
that is information and vision that you can protect, right? So pink words are important because you want to use it as vision that you can protect. So my recommendation, if you're snowballing, you have extra gold, you just like want to demolish this guy,